As you have probably discovered, the best relationship advice often comes from very unlikely sources. But I was still surprised to discover that one of the best relationship tips I've ever found came from an economist, an actual American economist who works in the field of economics, nothing to do with dating or psychology. But this insight is so profound that I think anyone in a relationship will find it very helpful. In today's video, I'm going to detail exactly what that is. My name is Zachary Stockill, and since 2013, I've been helping men and women from all over the world overcome retroactive jealousy and save their relationships. If you'd like more information about my work, or you'd like to work with me one-on-one, please visit my website at retroactivejealousy.com. So I came across a quote recently that I just had to share with you. It comes from the American economist Thomas Sowell. He has a wealth of very interesting, very thought-provoking videos on YouTube, but they have nothing to do with relationships. This is related to governmental policy. This is related to economics. So if you're not interested in that stuff, you probably won't like it. But anyway, this quote is about economics. It's about the functioning of the state. It's about functioning of government. It's about basic economics, but it's so good for relationships. So I'll read the quote to you by Thomas Sowell. Quote, "There are no solutions. There are only trade-offs. And you try to get the best trade-off you can get, that's all you can hope for." End quote. So why am I so obsessed with this idea about trade-offs? I talk about trade-offs a lot on this channel and elsewhere. I talk about trade-offs and I talk about realizing the trade-offs involved in your life because I think many people don't, and I think it really holds them back from greater peace of mind, greater happiness in their relationship and elsewhere in their lives. In other words, a lot of people go around looking for perfection. They want to find the perfect girl or the perfect man or the perfect relationship, or they want to find the perfect home or the perfect city to live in. They want to raise perfect kids. They want the perfect job. You get my drift. Many people go around looking for something that is absolutely unattainable, and that is perfection. As I say endlessly on this channel, because I feel so strongly about it, perfection does not exist, and you will drive yourself and others absolutely crazy if you go looking for it. The perfect man doesn't exist. Spoiler alert. The perfect woman isn't out there. The perfect relationship doesn't exist. The perfect city to live in doesn't exist. The perfect home you can buy doesn't exist. In everything in life, there is always some kind of trade-off involved, or some element of that person, that place, that thing that is slightly undesirable, that is slightly unsatisfying. But that's life. And anytime we try to deny that or pretend that perfection actually does exist, it holds us back from peace of mind. It holds us back from true and sustainable happiness. So let's take this quote about trade-offs as it relates to relationships, which is why I wanted to talk about this today and create this video. When you're in a relationship, I think it's very helpful to keep in mind that there's probably going to be some kind of a challenging trade-off or some kind of a challenging flip side involved in just about every characteristic that you like about your partner. There's going to be some side to them. And in any relationship, there are going to be certain things that you love about your partner, but there might be something that you don't love associated with that thing you love. So let me give you a classic example. Let's say, a very classic example, let's say you're a man and you want to date a beautiful woman, right? Who could imagine that? Obviously, men are highly, highly visual creatures. We love beautiful women. Many guys want to have a pretty girl, pretty girlfriend, pretty wife, etc. Physical attraction, physical beauty is very important to many men. Well, guess what? What's the trade-off involved there? If you date a beautiful woman and you stay with her for the rest of your life, for the rest of your life and for the rest of her life, she is going to have other men kind of circling the waters. She's going to have guys trying to slide into her direct messages. She's going to have guys flirting with her at the gym or at the grocery store. She's going to have guys catcalling her when she walks down the street. She is going to have men paying attention to her and proclaiming their interest in her for the rest of her life because she's a beautiful woman, and that's the way the world works. Of course, I am not condoning catcalling. I am not condoning creepy male behavior. I am not condoning anything of the sort. I'm simply saying that in the world we live in, many men proclaim their interest for women, even when they know that woman is attached to someone else. That doesn't hold them back from, trying to slide into their DMs or whatever. That's the way the world works. So you want the beauty, but if you do want the beauty, you need to make peace with the other thing. You need to make peace with the trade-off involved, because there is going to be somewhat of a downside associated with that trade-off. Now, personally speaking, I want to date a beautiful woman, and I'm not so concerned about that trade-off. I don't really, it doesn't really matter to me that much because I trust my partner. But anyway, I know many guys struggle with making that trade-off. Another example. Let's say you're more introverted, and let's say you're dating someone who likes to talk. They're very extroverted and they talk a lot. So you might look at that and say, geez, I just want a little more quiet sometimes. Why is this person talking constantly? I would just like a little more peace, a little more quiet. There might be a positive trade-off associated with that slight downside of them talking all the time. Maybe they help you get out of your shell a bit more. Maybe they encourage you to be a little more self-reflective because you're engaged in conversation regularly, where you're an introvert, and if you didn't have this person, maybe you'd stay in your shell a little bit more. Maybe you wouldn't be as social. Maybe you wouldn't be talking to other people at parties. Maybe you wouldn't have the friends that you now have because your partner's more extroverted, bringing more people into your world around you. Let's use a retroactive jealousy example because I know many viewers of my channel are struggling with retroactive jealousy. Let's say you have a ravenous sexual appetite. I mean, imagine that. Many guys have a ravenous sexual appetite and many women have high sex drives. They want to have a lot of sex. Let's say you want a relationship with someone and you want to have a lot of sex in that relationship. You want to be adventurous, you want to try new things, and you want frequent sex, and you want to, have all this wonderful kinky fun. Guess what? There's going to be somewhat of a trade-off involved in that depending on how you look at it. So if you want to bring someone like that into your life, there's a high likelihood that they're going to have a past history of having some sex. Maybe a lot of sex, maybe more sex than you particularly feel comfortable with. But guess what? That's life. And that kind of a situation is somewhat difficult to avoid if you want to bring in someone in your life who's highly sexually adventurous, who's sexually open, and all the rest. This kind of trade-off exercise can be a very interesting thought experiment for anyone in a relationship. So sit down and think of 3 things that you find challenging about your partner. These can be personality traits, characteristics, whatever. Then try to think of 3 positive things that are associated with those negative things. Think of the trade-offs involved that you could be overlooking that could actually be benefiting your life. Similarly, think of 3 things you love about your partner and then try to think of 3 trade-offs involved in that as well. Think of the negative flip side, perhaps, of those things you enjoy, of those things you appreciate. The point is, you need to realize that there's a trade-off involved in just about every aspect of life. There are going to be trade-offs involved no matter who you bring into your life on a long-term basis, no matter who you love, no matter what kind of relationship you're in, but that's life. Perfection doesn't exist. There's always going to be some kind of a trade-off involved. And the more you can make peace with that fact, I think the better your life is going to be. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. If you got anything out of this video, please take a moment to let me know by clicking the like button below. I'd also ask you to please leave a comment telling me what you think. And while you're at it, please be sure you are subscribed to my channel to be notified of new videos moving forward. Thanks again, and I'll talk to you soon.